Yeah, I don't know.
No, no, it took this long to get my computer going.
All right, so calling to order at 6:02. Did everybody get a chance to look at the March minutes?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Anybody have any comments, questions? Yes, because we have Allison on the.
Yeah.
Allison's up.
Okay.
Yep, good.
I motion to accept March. I'm like, what minutes? I motion to accept the March meeting minutes as is.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, sorry, can I just interject that if you have some of your members remote, you're supposed to do a roll call vote for open meeting laws. And that was one of the things that the select board got dinged on. So since I'm here, I'm going to
Communication
encourage a roll
proceed.
call
Thank you.
vote.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go with roll vote. What?
Sean Nicholson, aye.
Yes.
Gabrielle Potrello, aye.
James Thatch, aye.
Allison Chu, aye.
Thank you.
So Mike, aye.
Perfect.
All right, so then the friends update.
Hey, it's got stuff going on, and so for reading class is 50 days, 10th, and it's almost full, so that's good. We have the tea and the historical reenactment at the end of the month on the 30th. And also we're gearing up for the book sale, accepting books. June 7th will be the book sale date, I believe 9 to 1. Set.
And you're accepting, as of April?
Yeah, actually already.
We are. The Seed Library has been doing a first trade.
Another box came in.
Oh, another box came in, we're replenishing already. What else? What's the other thing, and the tree is for teens and children coming in as well, so as usual. Full complement of things.
Awesome. Thank you for all you
Yes, we appreciate it. Did you have, so you've had a meeting since we've had a meeting?
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
so did you guys get to discuss the t-shirts at all? Just, I know we're not at the boat race yet, I'm just curious. Okay. We can talk about more at the boat, when we're on the boat race section, but I just, okay.
There were nebulous questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we were trying to piece that together.
So we'll hold that, move on.
Director's report.
Okay, I have an extra copy if anyone wants, a copy. Let's see, things are good. I have some updates to things as we go through here, these, already in the last couple of days. Most of them good. Actually, all of them good. Anyway, staff. Let's see, staff are making their payroll submissions through Employees Forward. Everything is being submitted online now. I check it over, edit where needed, if needed, and approve it, and away we go. So it's actually pretty straightforward. I'm actually, very happy with it so far. Provided once I submit them, they actually go to whoever needs to receive them. But so far, so good. We are going to have CPR AED training on April 28th. It's a Monday. I have most everybody, except for one staff person who cannot make it. So most everybody will be there for that, which is great. I wanted to ask them whether or not maybe the staff member could join in with another group at some point. So we'll figure that out also. So still looking for a somebody to volunteer in the genealogy room. I did send a pretty detailed message to Darlene Rhodes. I did not hear back at all. I know she didn't look at her email as much. I'm not just trying to find a phone number. I don't even think I have a phone number on her record in the system. But in any event, I'm thinking about reaching out to Jane Lowell. At the Friends meeting, they mentioned Dick Grady. I didn't really want to put a ton on his plate because he's already got a lot of things going on, but I'll find out and see if he's interested or if he knows somebody who'd be interested. Might check with the Historical Commission also.
Does it have to be a volunteer? Is this a role that we should look at one of our staff members is taking on?
Well, I've talked to the staff, and nobody's particularly confident with it. I mean, it would be good to have a little bit of back knowledge of local resources, genealogy resources. I don't know that anybody was super enthused. That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody couldn't take it on eventually if we had to do that. But it would probably want to have them sit down with Phyllis at some point. That was the original intention. When I talked to Phyllis, she said, I have a couple people that are on the staff that maybe would be, if they were interested, she thought would be good. But I haven't had the feedback on that. It's been positive. Sorry, yeah.
No apologies. This is always a good one also. We separate ourselves from the staffing versus what the library's needs are, or what we see as, hey, this is where we want to be 2 years or 5 years down the road. So this is, if it's more logical to say that this is something that should be within our wheelhouse, within the staff's role or someone's role that's being paid, then it may be good for us to start, these first 4 hours that we possibly get.
Right.
How do we start playing with those? Look at someone
It might be interesting to advertise that as a preferred
Sure,
competency.
absolutely.
With the idea maybe at some point, if we were ever looking at a full-time adult services person, that would expand, that piece would be part of the
Yeah.
role.
That would be nice, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interested in genealogy, you could definitively say this person works here and they are here these hours.
Right.
So if they wanted to come back,
Right.
you would be able to give them that service
Yeah.
and you're not reliant on volunteer.
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely see it rolling into a role. And yeah, I think maybe, like to your point, that if we could advertise it that way and see if that shakes the tree at all. It's great individuals who might have an interest and have that background, which would be wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, cool. Let's see. I have an update on the asphalt. And it's a good update because I talked to Justin Harshaw and he said May 8th to the 11th. So that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
yeah, that's cool.
which is really good. It would mean that it's not necessarily, there's not a lot of staff hours during that time, and obviously Saturday and Sunday wouldn't be open. If they had to extend it and Monday, it's probably fine too because we're closed. So we went ahead and nailed down those dates, so that's good. I don't know what everybody's thoughts are about individuals working those hours. And if anybody has an issue with individuals wanted to work those hours that they typically have on those days. Yes.
Safety first.
I was just gonna say that.
Absolutely safety first. We were doing a high risk
Yeah.
operation
Yeah,
and where paving's no simple thing. Large machineries around, and there's folks who normally work in the library, don't normally work around that kind of stuff. So
sure.
my brain says it is safer to say no.
Yeah, I agree.
And it is, like, if there are things, I'm sure there are certain things that could be done remotely, or if there's trainings that need to happen, and that's a possibility, 100%.
Sure.
But, like, kind of going in line with the chief's perspective about parking and other things, but we do not want to be at risk by having someone come in and
Yeah.
getting hurt because we said you have to be at work.
Right,
Okay.
And if they don't wanna lose the hours, maybe we plug them in earlier in the week. And you have them work on a project, you know what I mean, so they don't lose their hours that they're worried about.
We spread it out over a series of weeks.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that way there's additional hours if they want for whatever, like.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
right.
yeah, we can definitely do that.
Cool.
Okay.
I think that's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
so-
And then that way, the company we're using, they're not worried about, oh my God, is someone like coming out of the library and walking across,
Right.
possibly getting in our way, or
Right.
now my guys have to watch out and make sure there's not.
Yeah.
So that it's probably better to just,
100%.
So in the next couple of weeks, so that's absolutely fine, and I'll let, I'm talking to Jeremy.
and that includes you.
No,
No, it's like-
To be honest with you, I was thinking of taking like some vacation.
It does, right?
Take some vacation.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
So I.
No, but I mean, you still have to park your car somewhere, you still have to walk
Right,
in, get into the building and whatever.
yeah, I was making allowances already for just,
Right.
probably just taking that. Great,
That's more.
so I see Jeremy on Monday because we're gonna go over some things with the new website. And so I will talk to him, just let him know everyone's thoughts on anybody being here. I'll tell him that's a no-go. And we'll reshuffle the hours if we can. And if people do want extra hours, we can encourage that. And we'll go from there.
Awesome.
All right, good. Facilities, Dewis was actually over on Wednesday, Dewis Landscaping, so they did cleanup, mulching, it's looking better than it was, which is great. They were here early, from what I understand, and we're into the early afternoon, so they did quite a bit of work, which is great. Boston Document Systems did just send over a color copier quote for me. It doesn't look all that different from what our current quote is, so I will talk to him probably, will either be tomorrow or early next week about that. Let's see. Everybody, well, those who are the directory subcommittee know that the engineers stopped over and did the MEP
Yep.
study. I did make copies of the
Oh, thank you.
study.
Okay, thank you.
So they were here back on the 20th, and it was pretty straightforward. Carpet cleaning, window cleaning will be coming up, but we're doing that after the parking lot. Excellent. Budget, let's see, 27,143 spent from the budget in March. That's 12,894 in salaries and 14,407 in operations. We're about 5% below target. Last year, we were about 9 or 10% below target, so we're closer this year. The large expenditures for the month, or larger expenditures, were in contracted services, 2,786. Utilities and fuel, we spent 2,029. Books was 6,139, and programs was 1,577. If I look at books projecting out over the next 3 months, we're probably going to need to spend about 6,000 each month. For books and other circulating. But that's doable. We can do that. Let's see. Select board question and state aid. I think we could, I don't know, you probably want to come back to that one, or do you want to discuss that now? This was
This is
this
Jeremy
is
was
about
originally gonna
the
join us.
4,300 for the additional 4
We
hours.
don't have it, so we could do it now. I actually want to go back to
Yeah.
one question.
Sure.
So when you said that we spend $2,700, almost 28 on the annual copier service, that's for the whole year, right? If we
Yeah.
get the new copy machine, will they be crediting that balance, or
Oh.
since we just paid for the whole year, or is that for the year?
I need to talk to him about that.
Okay,
Yeah, because you're right, I just paid that out, and now we're looking at another copier, so, agree, yeah, we have to find out what the difference is. Yeah. No, we're not gonna.
well, I thought I was like, well, we just paid for the ones we've got.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we have to adjust some things because we already made that payment. So, the select board and the finance committee met to discuss the budget, and, the town administrator recommended some departmental requests to approve, and then there were others they had further conversations about. And Elena, is Elena there?
She's there, she just
Oh,
gone.
okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I characterize this correctly. My understanding is that the 4,300 was approved by the select board for the 4 additional hours. But there was a request to go back to the trustees and ask whether they would be willing to have that come out of state aid.
Right, I think, yeah, now you're asking me to remember stuff that like, so
I know.
that matches with my memory that, right, we did vote to approve it. The question had come up about state aid because it's sort of, the library is in an unusual position in the town as a town department that has this separate source of funding that does not go into the budget. And so, right, the question was, I think because there were a lot of requests from other departments that could not be funded. So the sort of, there were multiple requests to different, different departments about like how things could be reworked. So this is sort of not singling out the library, but the library has this special source of funds that other departments don't have. So I think the question was, it's come up before that I think most of us don't really understand what state aid to the library is like used for. Like, I mean, really, it's like not questioning you, like, what is this for? But like, really, like, we don't actually know. And so there was that question of like, are there guidelines for like how much should be kept as, like for stabilization, or like, I don't know the ins and outs of library budget in that way. And so I think that was more that question, is this something that could be used for staffing, like especially what, like, I don't know, like I know like the website, right, that's not coming out of the libraries. So I don't know if that is coming out of the library budget, actually, the new website, or if that's like a general town expense, the new Civics Plus. So like, I think there's sort of like a set of questions. Is there a way that like more money could go to the general fund sort of as a result of the state aid? So it's not, I don't want it to be taken as a challenge, more sort of a request for more information. That I think it has come up a few times over the years, like, why do they get to have this special fund that nobody else has? And I don't actually know the answer to that. So I think that's part of where this question comes up. And I think, yeah, it sort of boils down to like, we want to be able to fund all of the things, but there isn't enough money. Like, I don't know if like the fire department asked for 4 new full-time firefighters, and they do have like some real motivation even to get 2, but we couldn't afford 2. We could afford 1, but anyhow, so like there's this tension. So it was really just trying to see like if there are other ways that the 4 hours of library is not gonna like in and of itself fund another full-time firefighter, but like it's a question sort of in an ongoing way. And I just, yeah, to be honest, I don't know like the ins and outs of library state aid. So none of us spoke for you, really. That was just that question came up, and so like maybe at some point it would be, if you're willing to like talk us through just for our education.
So if I'm hearing you right, Elena, then it was technically approved. However, if there's a possibility of us using state aid instead, that would be a preferred option from as far as the select board's concerned, so they can allocate that money somewhere else. That may or may not need it for.
Yeah,
Okay.
potentially.
Just, I just want to make sure I understand exactly what.
I mean, I think we wrote
it.
Yeah, we did vote on the budget, and I believe Andrew's right that we left in the 4 hours. But it's now I don't have it in front of me, so apologies if I've gotten that wrong.
And Elena, so it would be like funding the 4,300 through state aid for this next fiscal, and then it would be picked up by the town in the fiscal after that?
We didn't talk about that. It was not as formed as a proposal, more of an inquiry. And I think,
yeah.
Okay.
So
more of an inquiry about like whether it is an option, because I know that was the specific strategy for making the children's librarian full-time, was to do that in a temporary way. And I don't know, like, and this is where like I think it would be helpful to like have the conversation with Jeremy as he's working, he did the budget, but like, the budget is an ongoing process, and we do have the issue that we could not fund, yeah, everything that was requested.
That's an every year problem though.
It is.
I
Oh, it
mean,
totally is.
It's an every year problem and we get it because we've been on that receiving end, too. So
Right.
the only concern is that state aid isn't a guarantee every
Right.
year. So,
Yeah.
we could fund it this year, but we may not be able to fund it every year moving forward. And are we gonna be asked
Well, that's.
every year to fund more and more?
Because if I'm looking at like a 5-year build out, for staffing, my concern would be that every time that we had a new staffing need and we're looking for additional hours, that the ask is for additional state aid as
Right.
opposed to
And
the
we set-
town.
We set precedent. Right, we'll do this every year.
But I do want to circle back. It obviously sounds very clearly that the select board needs a true, answer to the request for information. And what I got out of that was on how the state aid is used, what are the restrictions on the state aid? And how is the library able to leverage it, and what different means are we allowed to leverage it? So the kind of the rules and regulations. So I've got that as a nugget in my brain to make sure we get you that answer.
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a trustee, we have in the past, obviously, before I was a trustee, used those funds to be able to move smart progress with staffing, which has been huge.
Mhm.
But our current political climate and what's happening, not locally in the town, but state and federal, the probabilities of having state funds all the time are low. So it would be hard for us to say tonight, hey, this is cool, let's go forward, when we haven't even done our own, kind of internal evaluation on what are the risks, what are the benefits, cost benefit analysis of saying, we can dip here, but what's that mean for us in the long term? So.
I would just say, from being in this position for a few times now with the schools, it is so much better having a little bit more faith in some of the questions coming from the town, even if they might not be completely full of factual information. We need to show willingness to work with them, or there will be no way to gain benefit when it's needed. So there's a lot of, we gotta be collaborative. You gotta understand what their motivations are, understand what the town's needs are, so that we can be a part of the team rather than trying to wall ourselves out.
Absolutely.
So with that said, we might need the money to do that.
It's that hard, but well, and we are special because we have a fund. We have something that's different, not standard.
Right, and to Lisa's point, yes, we know we could probably say yes to this for this budget, but what happens moving forward when we've already added those hours in and, for an additional library condition, and then come next year, the state aid's inexistent or with much less than typical, where do we go, how do we continue?
It'd be nice to know what kind of running rate, let's say how far will that go in a emergency for us? And then what is that limit where we've got enough or we've got too little? What are we targeting? What's the amount that we're targeting?
The best thing is,
We did say that last time we were targeting.
Yeah.
We did set a number. I think it was 50 or 75.
Was that-
I forget exactly what it was. Go back.
there was.
We have a threshold of what we wanted to put
Where
in.
exactly.
And I forget
And not
exactly
go
what
below.
that was, right? And that was in case of emergency.
Yeah.
We had a flood or we needed to, it was in case something catastrophic happened, that we had a fund to draw from to, replace books or, those kinds of things.
Yes.
What we had at least talked about. But I don't know, and this is part to your point where I want to go do more research is, what does the state say it's for? What does the state say we have to use it for?
Right.
What are their,
No one went through this the last time I did investigate this. I'm not, I believe it was discretionary, but I don't want to say anything yet, because I think I need to go back and I need to absolutely determine, like, what are the things that we can use it on? Once we've determined that, there might be, I may say, well, people, you know, some libraries use it on this or that, and you're like, oh, well, all right, then we definitely want to hold X amount of accounts. So I think we need to get clarification. I need to get clarification.
And it could be as simple as us building out a one pager of like, you know, here are the regulations, here are the requirements, here's what we've done with it, here's why, here's what we see as possible. Because, I mean, elections happen, you know, where you get new members of the select board, different
Right.
folks are appointed in
Yeah.
different spots. So to be able to walk in when someone has that question.
I know the answer, right?
Yes.
This is always a question, and it's a really good question. Thanks for asking. Here's our answer.
Right.
Yeah.
I already wrote down it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Let's go into this again, yeah. Because I, like I said, it's been a little while, and so, I wanna nail down
Yeah.
the ridiculous.
Because we like having firefighters too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We really like
they're
having firefighters. So we wanna, it's a smart use, you
And
know.
then, you know, the other thing I would say is to my thinking, find out, is this 4,300 this year, or is it 4,300 in perpetuity? You know, because that's a totally different
Right.
thing.
But I don't think they can give us an answer to that either. I mean, like when we did it for Tara's position,
There were stipulations.
there were stipulations that they were gonna cover it the following year, and they made good on it, but they can't commit to that necessarily now. And like Elena said, it's $4,300 is, you know, not that much in the grand scheme of things when they're allocating it to other things, but every little bit helps,
Right.
I'm sure, with their whole.
What do we get from state aid every year?
Well,
What percentage of that is that of our annual number? Is that half? Is that a quarter?
Of
what we get from state.
total for
No, what we get annually. Do we get $8,000 from state aid a year?
16 now.
Okay, so it's about a quarter.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
It's about a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
We received 2 installments of a little over 8,000.
That's what we've,
Okay.
that's what we've gotten for the last couple of years.
It's actually gone up, but I mean, I can't guarantee it's gonna.
Well, yes, right, but if we were to look at history,
Yeah,
that
I would
is-
say for the last 4 years, we've probably been between 13 and 16 each year.
Total.
Yeah, each
Okay.
year would be between 13 and 16. Not to tell you what the amount is in there, if you're interested, but.
Could I ask another question?
Absolutely.
Yes. So another, I guess another question is, and maybe you said this, but sometimes it's helpful for us to know, like, what do comparable other town libraries do with their state aid? Like, sometimes that's like useful, that comes up a lot, like, especially, you know, and I know, Andrew, you've done this sort of research before, but that is another kind of question that somebody might ask when, you know, for your hypothetical one page of
Right,
answers,
sure.
if it includes
Right.
like a special, like other, peer communities.
Yeah,
So from a timing point of view, Elena, when do you need us to make a decision on this? Because clearly we don't have all the information to be able to make a decision this evening. And our
Yeah.
next meeting will be
in May.
won't be till May, so
Yeah.
after the town meeting, so.
Right. So I
that's-
guess I don't really have an answer to that. I
Okay.
mean, I think this is more of a
Maybe that's a Jeremy
Jeremy
answer? Okay.
question.
Can you ask that, Andrew, ask him when he needs us to make a decision, because obviously we're gonna have to meet separately to make this decision, possibly,
But-
right?
But
prior
I don't
to our-
believe it will affect the, like, what's on the budget for the town meeting, right? The select board and the finance committee voted on it. So
Okay. Oh,
but
as
it
far
would
as the
be- it
town
would be
meeting
good to- it would
goes,
be good-
then-
yeah, it would be good to check in with Jeremy,
Yeah.
since he's the one who sort of brought this up. It was a question that we had, so like, I don't feel like it's like really time sensitive. I mean, just, you know, soon is good because it's fresh in our minds, but I don't think it will make a difference for the May town meeting, right, for the voting on the budget.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Unless somebody asks a question on the floor, right? That's always like.
right.
So,
Sure.
Mhm.
And that's-
So as far as the town meeting goes, it's been approved, but doesn't mean we
well,
can't
we
make
voted to-
make a decision to moving forward as far as the budget
It's,
itself.
it's town meeting that approves it, right? So like,
Yeah.
with the budget, anybody can
That's
put
what
a
I mean,
hold.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
so, so that would be a reason to try to like at least either get some answers or get some stuff in the direction of answers.
Right,
It
because if a question
probably
does
won't
come up
come
at
up.
town meeting, we need to be able to answer for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Is there anything else we wanted to go into about that?
Don't think so.
Okay.
We've got taskers.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
The other thing that was done at that meeting was the 5,000 that we had requested for the carriage house.
okay,
That 5,000 is now part of the town's building maintenance budget. Doesn't mean that obviously you still can't go forward with that. It's just that they wanted to make sure that the town, that it wasn't something under the library's umbrella to have to pay for. However,
to
if
put
we
the
do
fencing
go-
up,
yeah,
whatever
if
we
we do
decide to
go
do.
ahead with it, then it's essentially, it's where the money's coming from. It's coming from
Okay.
the building maintenance line for the town.
We need to coordinate with them, like, is there somebody in the town that's taking, or that's gonna spearhead getting that done, or is that something that we need to get done?
My understanding was it's something that we would get done,
And then they just would pay for it.
but I could,
Come out of that
let
line
me,
item.
I
Oh,
said,
no,
meeting with-
we've got,
Well, so it's all subject to town meeting, but we are working towards, like, we voted to start a new position that would involve facilities.
Maintenance, yeah.
So potentially that person would be a point person for
Okay,
this, but that, you know, that is something that we talked about for the fiscal 26 budget, and so we're not there yet. But so there is that possibility. So I would say definitely coordinate with Jeremy for the time being, and then potentially with the facilities person who, I mean, the meeting's open, but it would be like, the idea is to have Dan Byers' position be shifted so that he's doing some of his hours are facilities, which he's already doing, but it's not part of his job description. So to make it part of his job description, or to make a job description where he is the candidate for that role, but like, right, it's about the role, not the person, but to create a position that is at least part facilities, because so far the town does not officially have anybody doing that, which I'm sure you've all noticed.
Not laughing at you,
that's the reason why you use Dan's name.
Yep, exactly.
Yes, no, I think that's a fantastic idea.
So yeah, so once that happens, I think it would make sense to the very least coordinate with that person, especially since the fund, like, it would be coming out of the town maintenance fund. And right, the idea to move it out of the library budget was because it's not going to be a recurring amount, right? That 5,000, so it shouldn't be included for your books materials calculation. That needs to be a percentage of your budget.
Mhm.
So
Right.
like it makes more sense to have it be separate, especially since it's, you know, a town facility and it's a one-time thing. That's the hope. I mean, like, I don't know how many times we need to fix the carriage house.
Maybe the quote of the year.
It did take a really long time, so.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it.
Let's see. Programs, I won't go through too much there. All the adult programs, by the way, had very good attendance. Book clubs and German club, most of those that we've run, we've had at least 10 to 15 people in attendance regularly, which is really good. Had some very good numbers for lapse at story times, and the medium had 41 attend because that one's incredibly popular every time we do it. I won't go through upcoming events too much. There is, the tea tasting with Dolly Madison. The Friends have the workshop coming up, and there's a mosaic pendant class with Cheryl Cohen coming up. Those are some of the things that are not regular. The other things that are listed there are regular offerings. Projects, progress is being made on the Library of Things. The last staff meeting set a goal of having 8 additional Library of Things items processed and cataloged by May for checkout. That's going pretty well. Senior abatement volunteering. Okay, so the issue with senior abatement volunteering is there was a funding issue, and I think we talked about this.
Yes.
Very surprisingly, both volunteers came in and said they wanted to continue to volunteer while this is being worked out. And they want to continue to volunteer just in general. So I was like, that's so nice. Wow, really nice. So so they're going to continue to do that. I mean, obviously, I you know, it's when they can do it, and I'm not going to hold them to, 3 hours every time but it's really very nice that they're agreeing to come in on Tuesdays and continue to do that. Let's see, other projects, adult nonfiction reading is going on. I think after this, I really would like to go back to adult audiobooks on CD and do a weed of those. I just really want to condense that section. Yes.
Just sounded a lot like what's somebody saying there? Reading of the books.
Oh, reading, yeah. Oh. Let's see, town news. Isabella Genova is a conservation agent for the town. Mentioned that the level 3 charging stations aren't on the table anymore because incentives have slowed on those. There's still the ability to get level 2 chargers. My only question was, do we want to pursue this?
Still think we have a parking problem.
Right.
And we don't need to take over parking with limited spots. As much as charging would be nice.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't think we have the space for it.
Right, if we were to ever be able to expand the parking lot, like, we've talked about in the past, then maybe that's a possibility, but as it stands
Yeah.
now, I don't think so either. I think we're already limited.
My understanding is that the connection would have to be up front.
And you're taking
Yeah.
primo, like
Oh, and there's
handicapped
handicap
and
parking there,
stuff.
so.
Yeah.
I'll just get back to her and say, don't include us at this time.
And if I can add one pause on town news as well.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda, so I figured this is a good spot to put it. I sat down with the chief of police and emergency management to talk about our emergency procedures plan.
Oh, yeah.
And I've sat down separately.
It's part of there.
Oh, it is? Oh, shoot, ignore me, sorry.
You got me confused. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't include it.
I'll just wait.
I don't want to ever read the agenda.
I actually just did.
It's print is super tiny. I have no idea why my printer did this. It did it on half page. It's so bizarre, but.
Andrew, Rachel.
Let's see, so. Town news and regional news, let's see, so attended a workshop on B&T Collect Connect. That's the module we use for reporting statistics for the state, which is the collect piece. The connect piece is for comparing statistics across libraries and also for comparing your own statistics across fiscal years. And so it was about an hour-long presentation about how you can do that and generating visual information, visual thing, graphs, charts, etc., which would be nice actually for going forward to have that to access. Anyway, so I thought that was very interesting, and hopefully I can incorporate that going forward. And then the only other thing was, as we were mentioning, the state aids. amount, the second installment came in at 84.56. Total for the year was 16.8. And that is the director's report. So the only other thing I was gonna mention, in the budget report, couple of areas of concern, contracted services, we spent about 91% of that budget. In programming, we spent 87% of that budget. There are other lines that we're able to pull from, I think, utilities, fuel, supplies, building maintenance. So if those lines run low, we have some areas we could pull from if need be. I already mentioned the books budget. We have, like I said, about 6,000 to spend per month. Right now, we have spent about 70% of the budget, almost 70% of the budget. Last year, I think we were at 65, so good shape. And that's that.
No, sorry. So, sat down with chief of police, and emergency management to talk about the policy, and then had a separate meeting, and actually I've already had 2 meetings separately with the fire chief. First and foremost, all of them are thumbs up. They love it. They think this is actually going to, as we had planned, set the precedent for the rest of the town facilities to have some type of plan and training like this. So, for chief of fire, he is having an officers meeting, actually, I think it's this week, and they are going line by line. So they're gonna red pen the thing as the lieutenants and the chief, so they can go through and really give it a good scrub. The chief of police and emergency management have asked that I come back and do a separate meeting with them to sit down and really go through the details. But they said, yeah, come back next week, which will be next week to do this. So the goal is they want to get it out, get it moving and get it done. Emergency management's already planning to use this template for the town hall. So it's already going exactly as we expected.
Nice.
And we'll hopefully keep our people safe and do what we need to. Great news on the first aid and AED training.
Yes.
And then from both chief of police and chief of fire, they are 100% on board of doing evacuation training,
Oh, absolutely. Good.
active shooter training, other type of emergency training, so that we can get a feel of what it is in the facility.
Yeah.
So it is, you can think through problems and talk through problems as much as you want, but until you actually put your hands on it and execute it, you're not going to have a feeling of what to do in the emergency. So that's the goal to get to. We obviously got to hit these check marks first, so that we can say, yeah, now we have a plan. Now let's train to the plan and then move on. So thank you for pushing that with Lieutenant Nutt and the other folks.
Yeah, and so then there'll be additional upcoming training for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got time on that.
Yeah.
I think the big goal is to get them through the building, so that when they red pen and edit the policy, we capture exactly what's going to work for our own emergency response folks. All right. Because they're the ones who are going to be here.
Right.
So we're good. We're moving forward fast on that one now. So
Good.
thank
Awesome.
you all for your patience.
Thanks, James.
So directory group update is on here twice because we have directory group and the directory subcommittee. So we're gonna skip / cross off line 6 because we'll come to it. Unless you want to do it first.
that's
I will present a motion to amend the agenda to remove line 6.
Second.
Excellent. And then,
We gotta do a roll call.
well, we do roll call now. We do roll call now. Jay Satch, aye.
Gabriel Michelle, I.
Sean Nicholson, aye.
I.
It's Michael, I.
Perfect.
Thank you. All right, strategic plan goals.
I talked about some of the things we're gonna do this year. I did reach out to Alana Bodio. I sent an email and then it all bounced back. So I have to reach out, maybe make a phone call and see if I can figure out if there's any group in town. I think we determined that potentially there isn't that group anymore in the neighborhood brigade, but.
Okay.
So you were not able to get in touch with Alana Bodio?
Well, whatever email I have
Okay,
is not the
not-
correct email. Does anybody have it?
I don't personally.
I would say, and
Yeah.
Facebook
Does
is an option to grab her that way too.
Yeah.
I had phone number and legs. She was.
that, 'cause
Honestly, I just reached out. I just reached out this week, so I haven't gotten a chance to call him yet, but I will. What was called?
Remind me when this meeting's not recording, I have a funny story for you about that. Oh, goodness. Made my day.
anything else?
Not at the moment. I know we were talking about doing some team program, and we have to kind of, the staff have to sit down and talk about that. And then, like I said, that other piece was about homebound. I have to reach out to Amy as well.
I was just gonna say, maybe Amy has some ideas.
Well, I'm
or
wondering,
resources
yeah,
on that.
I know they might, maybe they're even already offering that through the senior center, so.
Right.
Anyway, these are things I need to get to, I just haven't yet, so. We're on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cardboard boat race. We want to come back to what the questions were from the
Yeah.
friends on we were t-shirts, right? We were asking about t-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, so the first thing I think we were wondering is was there 3 different kinds of t-shirts that we were talking about, of colors or something?
Yes,
or-
I think there were,
Oh,
there were library staff, right?
Yeah.
There were volunteers, and then there were just the general public who wanted to buy one as a fundraiser.
Right.
If I'm
Yes.
remembering correctly, those were
So
the three.
one thing is, the library staff technically already has, it doesn't have the same emblem, but they already have those with the same logo, but not any writing. So I think you should still do library staff, what is it?
I think so, because you're talking
Yeah.
about the 25th.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's-
You have to have it, you should have one that says it's your birthday.
Yeah, again, that was just me throwing it together, somebody else could do a better job, I'm sure, but, yeah, so it says the 25th, so yeah, so staff,
Right.
volunteers, and then fundraiser.
Or was it?
My thought was that
volunteers
staff
or
and
was it-
volunteers.
Was it staff and volunteers,
It
was
was
it judges? So maybe it wasn't volunteers. It was
Oh, judges, I'm sorry.
So like staff and volunteers might all fall into one bucket,
Right,
and then judges would get
for
their,
a certain color, and
would
the
get their
judges would have.
color. And then the regular population, anybody who wanted to buy one as a fundraiser would get another color.
Yeah, so I would say like inspection crew, would probably just have whatever the volunteer t-shirt is. that
Correct.
is the inspection crew. Yeah. Okay. And then I guess the other question had something to do with sizes, right, and sizing for,
Like what size of a batch do you want and what range of sizes do you think is appropriate? What number are you considering? I think there was the embroidery bar in Milford.
right, I think she said that had the best pricing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it took a little while to get in touch with them,
Right.
get something back from them, but they seem to have the best
Yeah,
price and turnaround.
Okay,
And
I think my sense of it would be that whatever volunteers we have and whatever, whatever. We'd have to talk to the staff first to see what sizing they need, as well as the judges. The judges, though, they don't get picked on.
so the problem is I think we need to be more. Like, we need to make a decision, like, do we order 5 mediums, 10 extra large, but then they're gonna, you know what I mean, or 10 large, 10 extra large, I'm making these numbers up, but. The same thing with the fundraiser part of it. Oh, we were gonna try and do pre-orders. Kind of for the fundraiser, we talked about possibly doing pre-orders so that we could have a better idea of sizing and total quantity. But
Question.
staff and volunteers, yeah, you would have to come up with numbers for that.
Staff is easy, you could just ask them what size.
Right, you just need the.
Correct, and you could then guesstimate on the volunteers, you know, you know who your volunteers generally are.
Right.
And you could then come up with sizes and maybe get an extra couple just for,
Right.
hey, we added on a few.
Yeah,
Right.
And then when it comes to the general public, I think we were talking about doing, pre-orders.
right.
And then we could look at pre-orders and see what our size ranges are on those and then order a percentage similar, or, percentage more
Yeah.
similar to that. Like if all of our pre-orders are kids smalls and adult larges, okay, then we know that's what we need to probably order more of, and then get us for,
Right.
handle.
Right.
Whatever sizes of.
Right.
And unless someone has another idea, I don't,
No, I think you're spot on. The embroidery place in Milford, what was the turnaround time? Do you recall?
My brain is saying 2 weeks, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think that was a week and a half.
So like,
It's great.
if we get this stuff out, with like active marketing happening in May, that gives us a month kind of window
Mhm.
for where we could pull in data, pull in information.
Yeah.
And it's still, that would then still give us nearly 3 or 4 weeks before the event's actually happening for printing. So like, you never want to do we got 2 week lead time, 2 weeks right before the event.
Yeah.
You want to give
Right.
yourself that buffer because, things happen.
Right.
Life exists, but that would give us a good flex time, like to really have the marketing push kind of kicking off in May. We could then hopefully get some good numbers.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. That's very helpful.
Does that answer your questions?
That's every.
Okay.
You know, friends meetings. Not limited.
I think we're running short on
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we probably need to.
Come see if you want.
I don't know.
We're just wondering.
Yeah, how was it gonna do the executive session?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
All right, so
We're just finishing up the trustee
Oh, yeah.
meeting,
Yeah.
so bear with us.
do we want to skip over the record subcommittee meeting? And then,
So I can just say quickly, we are going to have Scott Richardson here to give us, go over some of the preliminary stuff at our subcommittee meeting. So we're excited about that, and we will have more of an update for next month. I think would be a better way to do it for that.
Sure.
any other topics that are not anticipated?
You see, I had this policy I was gonna talk about. It's the other part of the meeting, and then you went to the other part of the meeting. I'm kidding, I'm sorry.
All right, so should we jump into the executive session then,
Yeah,
briefly?
yeah.
And then can we adjourn from the executive session? We have to come back on.
You,
Meeting will adjourn.
All right, so the meeting will adjourn then at the end of the executive session.
Okay.
Do this.
okay, so I think you need to have a roll call vote to enter executive session, like formally, and then, yeah. But I'll take off. I just wanted to put that out there because,
Thank you,
We appreciate it.
thank you. All right, so.
Lena,
roll-
I move to enter executive session.
Second,
All right, all in favor?
James Thatch, aye.
Gabriel Costello, aye.
Sean Nicholson, aye.
Allison Chu, I.
Is Mike on?
Excellent.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So just so you guys know, we have to go into an executive session for a couple minutes.
What we can do is we can close this out. Allison, I'll get you on Teams directly from my phone and we'll talk to you upstairs, okay?
Thank you very much.
All
So
right.
we just have to deal with something upstairs and then we'll come right back down